Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to show 119 with your hippie pastor. Peace. I'm back. And my hair is back to its natural color. And guess what? Another good news. Brother Solomon did not rob me of my bling, of my golden bling. I misjudged him. I had misplaced it. See that? Suspicion is far more apt to be wrong than right. Ladies and gentlemen, before we continue now with the words of Jesus, I want to read the quote for today. And the quote for today, I'm going to read through it because it's kind of long. I'm just going to highlight the important parts. It's in Genesis chapter 1. Here's verse 26 through 29. You can read the whole thing on your own. I'm going to skip some parts. And God said, Let us make mankind, in our image, after our likeness, and let them have dominion over the fish of the sea, blah, blah, blah. And so God created mankind, in his own image, in the image of God, created he him, male and female created he them. And God said, be fruitful and multiply. That's the first commandment that God gave, was have sex. Because I don't know any other way to be fruitful and multiply without sex. So the first commandment of God was, thou shalt have sex. And then the last verse, just to throw in a little Bob Marley doctrine in there. And I have given you every herb bearing seed which is upon the face of the earth. That was totally unnecessary. Ladies and gentlemen, so as far as you know, see, we're going to go through this again. God said, let us. He was talking with somebody. It was a plural conversation. It was not a singular conversation. It was not just one God. He said, let us. So that would lead us to believe there's several gods. He says, let us make man. That means mankind in our image. Then he goes on to say, male and female created he them. So women were also created in the image of God, the goddess. So it would only make sense. Now, if God created us in his image, that means that we are in the image of God. God has a head, he has a nose, he has ears, he has teeth. Well, not dentures. He's got good teeth because he brushes his teeth every day, kids. And also he's got arms, he's got legs, he's got butt cheeks, he's got a crevasse separating his butt cheeks from his ass, he's got an anus, he's got testicles, he's got a prostate, he's got a penis, okay? He's got internal organs. We were created in the image of God. He has a heart, he has a blood circulation, he has lungs, he has a voice. We were created in the image of God. So what does that tell you? The body function like a machine, better than a computer. So we absorb things, we eat, we drink, but we also expel things. We shit and we piss. So God also has to take a shit once in a while, and he also has to piss, because he eats, he drinks. We were created in the image of God. And do you think, by any chance, that the penis of God is there as an adornment, as a nice thing there, just to look at? Or does he actually use it to bring pleasure to his wife, the Holy Spirit? Huh? So God uses, what do you think? He's got testicles that they're just for show? No. God uses what he has, and he's not ashamed. He's not ashamed to walk around naked. He's not ashamed of his own body. And we are created in the image of God. Male and female created he them. That's Genesis chapter 1. You can read it on your own. Chapter 1, verses 26 and 27. Okay? And then about being fruitful and multiplying, that's 28, have sex. Commandment of God. The first commandment of God. I didn't make this up. Ladies and gents, let us run along with the words of Jesus. Time is of the essence, like my mom used to say. Okay, we're finishing chapter 15 of the book of Matthew. Then Jesus called the disciples unto him and said, I have compassion on the multitude, because they continue with me now 3 days and have nothing to eat, and I will not send them away fasting, lest they faint in the way. And Jesus saith unto them, How many loaves have ye? And they said, 7, and a few little fishes. Okay, this is the miracle of the loaves and the fishes. Yeah, I think it might have happened, you know. Some of the things that they say Jesus did miracles, later we're going to expound more on this subject. Some of them were. He did have powers. Yeah, okay, I'll buy that one. Also, they were there for 3 days, so this was like a Woodstock. See, now I'm telling you, people, Jesus Christ was a hippie. He was having a Woodstock, you know? And so anyway, so he fed the multitudes. Okay. Now, let us hop right into Matthew chapter 16. Remember, we read the King James Version, and remember that I don't read through the whole thing. I just read the words of Jesus, and then the in-betweens, I explain what's going on. Because we ain't got time for that. We're here with the red letters, with the words of Jesus, giving you the one and only true interpretation. Maybe there's other true interpretations out there. I haven't been introduced. Okay, Matthew chapter 16, verse 2. He answered and said unto them, When it is evening, ye say, It will be fair weather, for the sky is red. And in the morning, it will be foul weather today, for the sky is red and lowering. O ye hypocrites, ye can discern the face of the sky, but can ye not discern the signs of the times? A wicked and adulterous generation seeketh after a sign, and there shall no sign be given unto it but the sign of the prophet Jonas. And he left them and departed. So he right there was talking to the religious hypocrites, to the scribes and Pharisees. You know, and he was telling them how they can, you know, they think they're meteorologists, you know, they can tell the weather, but they can't tell the signs of the times. That means that, you know, he believed, the kingdom of heaven was at hand. You know, the end of the world, you know, the judgment of God. The world was so bad and so evil in those days. Can you imagine over 2,000 years ago? It's been getting worse, you know, but I guess God's idea of time is different than ours, because over 2,000 years have gone by, and you know, I ain't seeing no judgment. You know, I ain't seeing no second coming on a white horse in the clouds. You know, so I think sometimes, you know, God's idea of timing is different than ours. Also, he called us the religious hypocrites, the leaders, he called them a wicked and adulterous generation. He wasn't talking about physical adultery, because we're all adulterers. It's been proven. Because in another part, Jesus says, if you think about it, it's just like you would have done it. So if you look at a beautiful body, appealing to you sexually and sensually, you desire it. So you've already committed adultery in your mind. That's one sin. Then you put the make on the person, and it works out, and you actually have sex with them. 2 sins. 2 sins for the price of 1. So we're all adulterers. He's talking spiritual adultery by these religious hypocrites who worship themselves in their own self-righteousness and holier than thou, you know, hypocritical religion. Okay, so that's what he was talking. He called, can you imagine, he called the spiritual leaders, the religious leaders of his day, he called them wicked. Wicked. You're wicked. Okay, he wasn't talking about the humble sinners down the street, the proletariat, the street people, the hookers, the sinners, the hashish smokers, you know, the drunks, the fishermen. He wasn't talking about the sinners. He was talking about the religious hypocrisy. The only people that Jesus attacked was the religious hypocrites. He never attacked sinners. He was defender of sinners. It sort of reminds me of myself. Allow us to continue. Okay, so then they had gotten away from the Pharisees and the religious leaders, and now he was alone with his disciples. Then Jesus said unto them, take heed. He's talking to his intimate pals, his group, his homies, his crew. Jesus said unto them, take heed and beware of the leaven of the Pharisees and of the Sadducees. So what are we talking about here? Okay, take heed, beware of the leaven of the Pharisees and of the Sadducees. And they thought, the disciples thought that he was saying that the Pharisees were selling bread, not to buy their bread. He didn't mean by that their physical bread, food. He meant their words, the words of these fundamentalist, evangelical, religious hypocrites. Just like in the days of the Judaism, their religion was nothing but traditions and hypocrisy. So he was saying to beware. He was telling the sinners, the street people, beware of the religious hypocrites. So when Jesus perceived that they thought he meant bread, he said to his disciples, O ye of little faith, why reason ye among yourselves, because ye have brought no bread? Do ye not yet understand, neither remember the 5 loaves of the 5,000, and how many baskets ye took up? Neither the 7 loaves of the 4,000, and how many baskets ye took up? How is it that you did not understand that I spake it not to you concerning bread, that ye should beware of the leaven of the Pharisees and of the Sadducees? So he made a point there, he wanted them to realize watch out with religious hypocrites. Don't let them condemn you. Don't let them tell you that you have to follow them, that they have the only true interpretation, because I have the only true interpretation, and I'll tell you a secret. I'll tell you what it is. Love. Love. I love you.